conversation from outside. The Black Hawks confirm that the enemy received a small request and started relocating a few hours ago. Anton told the two guys to eliminate Helmut alone without causing any problems to the noble client and her knights. The philosophy of Black Hawk is to ensure that they tear their opponents apart piece by piece until their opponent is dead. So he hoped that everyone, especially Maze and Paul, would have the same mindset. And yes, they do. Despite the ladies' protests, the escorting group found a small inn to sleep in. Helmut decided to practice outside. His vision has gotten much better compared to when he was in the Forest of Roots, but it feels like something is blocking it. Helmut wondered whether he could focus more on his training once he gets into the Greta Academy. Helmut sensed something watching over him. It was actually a bird sent by Alea from his room using the eyes of an eagle spell. He's snooping on Helmut because he finds him strange as well. Alea has seen countless skilled mercenaries, though it is rare to see such a young rank 3 mercenary like Helmut. Lady Xenia knocked on his door, wanting to talk to him, but she was dragged by her servants to bed early. Alea finds it really exhausting to deal with her. The next day, on their journey, they took a rest in a place where people heading to Baden usually rest. They took water from there to wash their faces and drink. The nobles ate all sorts of salads and meats, while the escorts were only given a piece of bread. Helmut suddenly missed Finn's meal. He's not sure what he feels from the cup of water he's drinking. He wondered if it was poisoned, but everybody seems fine. Not long after that, the butler found the lady had fallen asleep. And then everyone also started to fall asleep, except Helmut, who had stopped drinking the water a while ago. He knew someone was coming. They are Max, Paul, and a member of Black Hawk who used sleeping poison in the water drunk by everyone. They are surprised to see Helmut awake. When they asked if he was the one who killed Black Hawk's minions, he recognized Max and Paul. The other Black Hawk members come to surround Helmut and are about to start their hunt. Paul drew his sword, but a surge of magic prevented him from swinging it. Alea arrived and told them to lay down their weapons and leave if they didn't want trouble. The Black Hawk members thought that Alea was just another boy they had to deal with. Helmut kept on side-eyeing the guy as well, until Alea told him to focus on the opponent instead. He even called Helmut a bastard crow. Paul was pissed that the other member didn't know that there was a mage there. He tried to attack Helmut while Max faced Alea. Helmut thinks that he got lucky because Alea was there. If he were alone, it would be difficult to face 2 rank 2 mercenaries and thieves. Paul thought he got the upper hand, but Helmut was actually glad they followed him there. He knows Paul and Maze are not worthy to face him. Paul was surprised to see Helmut using a vis. He was easily beaten up by the boy. Helmut told him to take his subordinates and leave quickly before he killed him. Paul told him to just kill him instead of humiliating him. But to Helmut, the betrayal Paul and Max had done to their own comrades was much more humiliating. Helmut wondered whether Alea, who fights far from him, was okay. But he's fine, and Max was the one who was losing. Max asked who the boy really is, and Alea told the guy that he's just a mage. Alea uses an enormous amount of magic. He doesn't care about what they have to do, but if they interfere with his business, like they did, it is a different matter. Max hates how arrogant Alea is, but to Alea, the guy was only pretending to be tough. He can beat him with just an attack of magic. Alea told the other guys that they would have to come to Baden with them. He cast a restraining magic spell, so everyone was running away and he only got some of them tied up. Max also managed to escape without Alea noticing. He was hiding. He can't believe that the guy Black Hawk chased was Helmut from the Pace Mercenary Corps, and there was even a mage. Helmut passed him by, looking fine without any scratches. Max wondered whether Paul was also defeated. Alea handed Helmut ropes to tie up the already tied thieves. Alea said that he's going to toss them into the prison in Baden. He doesn't want to waste any mana by keeping the restraining magic. Helmut only recently realized about the prison, and he now regrets letting Paul and Max go. Alea asked Helmut why he didn't fall asleep. He answered that he didn't drink the water from the spring. Alea suddenly threw a magic spell towards Helmut, but Helmut didn't even flinch. Helmut also questioned him about why he wasn't asleep when he also drank the water. Alea said that a mage can purify that much water. Helmut asked whether it was because of the magic surrounding his body this whole time. He didn't expect that Helmut could sense the magic. Helmut said that he pretended not to know because he wasn't that curious, and it was none of his business anyway. Aaliyah found the crow bastard really irritating. Gilton was relieved that Aaliyah and Helmut managed to have the situation under control. He was about to discuss the payment when Xenia suddenly came to Aaliyah. She was happy that he saved her in such a crisis. She said that she was willing to repay him with anything, and she even proposed to him. But Aaliyah cut her off, saying that he has someone he's betrothed to back home. He said that as soon as he graduates from the academy, he will wed her. The lady was upset and cried out loud. Though they stayed up overnight, they were still able to arrive without any trouble in Baden. Gilton makes sure to commend him within the mercenary guild and gives him 10,000 marks as a token of gratitude. Helmut also thanked Aaliyah for helping him in a lot of ways before leaving. Helmut finds the city quite strange. It's bigger than any village he's visited before and has more people. It's hard to find things in such a big city, but he finally finds the Greta Academy. He wanted to find a man named Ethan Kudrow, so he asked the lady at the front desk of the academy. Ethan Kudrow is a swordsmanship instructor there, and Helmut said that he is his acquaintance. The lady led him to a magical room and told him to wait outside. He's curious about the human Darien mentioned. He was let in to meet the instructor. Ethan said that he doesn't recognize Helmut's name, so Helmut should state his business. Helmut can sense from Ethan's aura that he's not as strong as Darien, but amongst the swordsmen he has seen, he's at the very top, maybe as strong as a mercenary level 1. Ethan asked again why the boy came to him. Helmut drew his sword and showed it to Ethan, saying that someone had said he would know what the sword meant. Ethan takes another look at the sword and instantly feels its familiarity. He got reminded of Darien Departe, and Helmut corrected it. Ethan inquired as to whether he was still alive, but Helmut shocked him by informing him of his recent death. According to Ethan, it has been 20 years since Darien went missing, and he vowed to repay him for saving his life. Ethan knows that the fact that Helmut is holding the sword means that he is Darien's last apprentice, so Ethan asked him why he wanted to see him. Helmut informed him that he wished to attend the Greater Academy. Ethan understands now why Darien sent Helmut to him. Perhaps he thought the boy needed a guardian. When Ethan asked about Helmut's age, the boy was not sure whether it was 14 or 15 years old. Although he was stunned by that, based on his observation, Ethan assumes that Helmut is 15, and so he has to take the exam as a transfer student. If Helmut reveals the fact that he's the apprentice of the divine swordsman Darien Departe, he may be allowed to even transfer immediately without a test. Helmut felt grateful that Darien still helps him. He wondered what had happened to him since Ethan said he went missing when, in fact, he was in the Forest of Roots. Darien's acquaintance didn't know it, and so he might be sent there against his will. If the one sending Darien found out about him being an apprentice of Darien, and that he has a seed of darkness, he might be sent back into the forest. Helmut then decided that he couldn't reveal everything. He told Ethan that his life would be in danger if people found out that he was Darien's apprentice. Ethan was appalled by it and demanded to know who would kill him. Helmut told him that he would eventually tell the truth. He told Helmut to ask for assistance if he needed anything. Now they need to prepare for Helmut's transfer examination, and Ethan wants to check his skill first. They went to Ethan's personal training ground. Helmut was asked to slice a big tree branch using the prepared wooden sword. White birch is harder than most woods. Ethan knows that Helmut is not ordinary, but he's still surprised when the boy easily slashes the branch using his vis. Helmut is powerful, so according to Ethan, his entrance is pretty much guaranteed. As Darien's apprentice, his swordsmanship is at such a high level. Ethan told the boy that he only needed to pass the written exam now. But his practice scores were only 4 on average, and he was told he would not be able to enroll in the academy with those scores. There are only 10 days before the exam, and he needs to improve that. Helmut asked Ethan whether he could teach him, but it's not permitted since he's one of the faculty members. Helmut remembered Alea and asked Ethan about him. According to Ethan, he enrolled with honors at the top of his class because he had a perfect score for the first time in the history of the academy. Helmut told Ethan that he would just ask Alea to teach him. The instructor asked him how he knew the student, but Helmut just left. Alea said that he doesn't like teaching stupid people, especially when they come to him without notice. He thought Helmut was just a mercenary. He doesn't have any intention of tutoring him. Helmut said that he only needs to pass, and Aliyah is more than qualified to teach him. Helmut said that he will not ask for anything for free, and that he will pay Aliyah for teaching him. Aliyah was offended, but he demanded 100,000 marks just to make sure that the boy wouldn't insist anymore. Aliyah was shocked when Helmut said he would prepare the money. It's a huge amount of money. Helmut proposed to start the tutoring tomorrow. Aliyah said that the money better be ready, and he won't let the boy get lazy with the study. Aliyah returned to the house, and a green-haired boy was enthralled by the fact that Aliyah has such a good friend as Helmut. Helmut came in the morning just like they promised, and he gave Aliyah the full amount of money. Aliyah has never tutored anyone before, so Helmut can't ask for his money back even if he fails the exam. He said he would do it for money, but he believed that there wasn't much to tutor. They're in the library, and Aliyah thinks that Helmut's ability to learn is much more outstanding compared to any other student from the Department of Magic. Aliyah asked Helmut whether he came out of a forest after living by himself or something. As Helmut expected, he needs to be careful around the mage. Helmut's focus is pretty decent, and his memorization skill is great, but Aliyah's annoyed that the boy doesn't possess any of the most basic ethics and common sense. His practice score was so bad. Aliyah said that they need to finish the other subjects as soon as possible and focus more on that area after. Aliyah told Helmut that he would need to enroll him in this academy no matter what. He has his pride as the top student. He got a huge sum of money, but for Aliyah, it's about his honor. Helmut finds the boy's behavior and words strange. Aliyah was left speechless with Helmut's poor understanding of basic ethics and common sense. He told Helmut that it's not just about avoiding a fight after a conflict, but also how the parties involved will learn their lesson. People forgive the person, not the sins. That's the definition of justice set by the Academy standard. Helmut finds humans even more complicated now. He knew he had learned those fundamentals late, so he needed a lot more time to comprehend them. Aliyah keeps tutoring him despite his anger towards Helmut's nonsense. 2 weeks later, everyone was observing Aliyah at the examination place in the library. They know that he has been tutoring Helmut. Helmut passed the written exam with flying colors, so Aliyah declared that their tutoring was completed today. Helmut thanked him for helping him study. Now Helmut has to do the practical exam in the Department of Sword Arts. He has to wait until the instructor takes him to his respective group. Helmut was thinking about practicing after the exam when someone named Sabbat Rugal talked to him. He's the second son of the Rugal family. He wanted to take advantage of Helmut's closeness with Ayla. He asked for Helmut's last name, but the boy was confused. Sabbat asked Helmut's last name to get to know him. The only family Helmut knows is the one written inside the pendant, Margaret Irene, but he knew that he probably shouldn't say that name since he was forsaken in the forests of roots. Helmut then admitted that he is just a commoner who doesn't have a last name. Sabbat and his friends started to mock and underestimate Helmut after knowing the truth. They wondered how he was able to get tutored by Aliyah in the first place. One of the supervisors confronted Sabbat for being noisy and reminded him that it is strictly forbidden to discriminate based on their class and gender in that academy. The applicants are required to take a seat, and before they went away, Sabbat reminded Helmut to stay low and not hang around people above his class. The participants gather in a room to do the practical exam. It will be conducted in groups, and it will be done in 2 separate stages. The other participant is looking at Helmut, and he realized that humans will always have classifications among themselves, and it isn't just based on strength. Helmut was in Group 4, and he entered the venue. He's required to slash the black wood tree in the first stage using the wooden sword provided. He's free to use any swordsmanship and vis they desire. The time restriction is 5 minutes after he wields the sword. Even if he manages to slash the log in the time provided, he won't be disqualified. It was too simple for Helmut. The supervisor even had to strike multiple times to do it. The other applicants doubted how fast Helmut finished the first stage. And now, the second stage involves sparring. While the instructors are observing, the applicants will be dueling one-on-one using their own swordsmanship with their opponent for 8 minutes. Their final acceptance will be decided upon careful evaluation, and the opponents are decided randomly. Sabbat believes that anyone who has Helmut as an opponent has a free pass. Helmut only looked at him without saying anything, so Sabbat asked why he didn't hit him instead. Sabbat taunted Helmut to hit him if he's offended by what he said. Helmut wondered if the guy would leave him alone if he really hit him. But before that, it was announced that Helmut would be going up against another applicant named Andrew. Ethan is one of the 3 judges, and since Helmut was recommended by him, he won't be evaluating the duel. It is the first time Ethan has ever recommended someone, so the other judges have high expectations for Helmut. The sparring match will last a total of 8 minutes, with 2 rounds lasting 4 minutes each. The spar will only stop when an applicant is no longer able to wield their sword or continue with the duel. Andrew heard that Helmut is a commoner, so he assumes that Helmut didn't go through formal training. However, using the swordsmanship he has been training since childhood, Helmut was able to defeat Andrew in a second. Helmut had won the duel. The judge saw that Helmut's blade is quick and powerful, and it's hard to believe that it came from a child. Ethan also witnessed Helmut's strength and ability. The difference between 2 students is quite big, so it's hard to distinguish the applicant's skill level. Ethan told Helmut to spar with Andrew as if he were trying to teach him instead of defeating him. Andrew was told to show his abilities in the next spar. When he began to attack Helmut, Helmut told him to be faster in doing so. When he makes such a large movement, it becomes easier to block. He also told him a lot of tips to attack and defend himself through the spar. The way Helmut literally teaches Andrew how to spar makes Ethan remember Darian. Once, he was losing to a demonic beast and about to give up, but Darian came and told him to fight back. Seeing Helmut now, it seems like Darian has returned. The judges chose their candidates from a range of power levels. They also think Helmut will soar in the academy. 1 week later, Helmut was wandering around the city to find the Baden Mercenary Guild. He's fulfilling a request, and he left his belongings back then. The boy at the front desk confirms Helmut's identity and helps to accommodate whatever he needs. Ethan was surprised when he knew Helmut had paid Alea 100,000 marks. He was frustrated that Helmut doesn't know how to maintain his whole life savings. As his guardian, he needs to teach him that money is important there, so it must be managed properly. Helmut is free to do whatever he wants because he has another month before the enrollment, and that's why he decided to fulfill some requests. Ethan allows it as long as it's not too dangerous or anything formally referred to as protection duty. Helmut asked for a request that he can do within Baden that he can complete before the next month. There is one that's fitting, but the location is in the Greta Academy. There have been reports of an academy ghost appearing within the academy. According to the reports, the appearances are often at night, but they come from various places, so the specifics are unknown. Until now, there has been no evidence or cause that has been found, and they have filed a request to avoid any potential dangers that may occur. The request is to find the identity of the academy ghost and report once it has been eliminated. Helmut picked the request since he wants to be familiar with the academy, but he has never made that kind of request before. He was thinking when someone approached him. It was the green-haired boy before. It was the first time Alea, the idol of the magic department, had actually hung around anyone, so he noticed Helmut. Helmut asked whether the boy was also a mage. He confirmed it, but he's slightly different from Alea. He cast a round, flying, fiery monster, and Helmut tried to punch it. The boy laughed at him, as he was the first person to try to hit Raten. Raten is a spirit of light who's a bit mischievous, but not harmful. Even if it becomes harmful, people won't be able to block it. Only some mages are able to control them, since the spirits do not possess physical bodies. And one of those mages is the green-haired boy, Cyan, the only elemental mage in the academy. Helmut thinks Cyan is a fun guy, but he has to fulfill the request. Cyan knew about the rumor of the academy ghost, so he proposed to help Helmut with his request. They went to the ordinary building for the Department of Swordsmanship, since it was the most recent place the ghost appeared. Since the ghost appeared, it has become empty once the sun goes down. A ghost is not a scary being unless it's the spirit of a malicious being that has been enchanted with black magic. But that won't be the case. Helmut asked them to split up so that they could be more effective. Someone was watching them from afar as Cyan and Helmut started looking for the ghost. Cyan and Helmut haven't been able to find anything. Cyan was looking at something, but he didn't tell Helmut about it. When they were about to go, Cyan saw someone who looked like a ghost walking towards them. Alea, not a ghost, had appeared. They informed him about the 3,000 marks request. He asked Helmut why he was making the request when he was loaded. Alea also claimed that he was there to fulfill a request he received directly from the academy. He was curious, so he decided to do it. Helmut wondered why the academy even submitted a separate request. Xian proposed to look for the ghost together to save time, and both Alea and Helmut agreed. They are now in one of the rooms. Alea casts an illusion to explain the situation. According to the reports so far, the buildings at which the ghost has appeared include the lecture hall they're currently located at, the swordsmanship training grounds, the swordsmanship professor lounge, the gymnasium, and the sparring ground. All these buildings have something in common. They're parts of the Department of Swordsmanship. The ghost did not appear at any other magic department building. It could be done by a mage who uses a method of silent spells or just about any human. Helmut said that ghosts cannot be attacked physically. Ethan had told him that a student tried to slash the ghost, but the sword just went through it. Being with the other two makes Helmut think about a time when he shared any opinion as an equal. He used to get scolded by Elaga and yelled at by Darian, and he didn't really discuss anything like that with the Pace Mercenary Corps. It's his first time sharing knowledge with the others, and they will continue to find new answers little by little. Alea suggested that maybe the ghost can be attacked using Vis, so Helmut will try to do that later. Sion is tired, so he excused himself. Helmut and Alea started discussing the same idea they have. It may be related to a spirit. Alea said that they already have Sion as a skilled elemental mage. Xian, on the other hand, was running fast towards somewhere. Helmut and Alea tried to follow Xian, since they knew that the guy was chasing something. Alea knew from the very start. That's why he triggered Xian by suggesting the usage of Vis to Helmut. They only need to know Sion's approximate location. Alea chanted the searching spell, and Xian's footsteps are suddenly visible to their eyes. He's sure that Sion won't be able to pinpoint the exact location either, so they need to find the spirit before he does. Helmut and Alea entered the training grounds of the Department of Swordsmanship, which can't be entered freely. The training grounds are separated into individual grades and levels, and Alea predicted that the spirit is using the least used area as its base, because it requires somewhere quiet to hide. Alea thinks that it could be hiding near the higher grade students with scholarships, but Helmut was curious about Ethan's personal training ground. They enter Ethan's training ground without permission. Alea can sense something similar to Xian there. Helmut asked him whether he really got the request from the academy. Alea actually didn't like that there was only one elemental mage at the academy, so he's going to capture the spirit and research it. Helmut can also naturally fulfill the request. Alea uses a silence spell to hide his own trace, and he needs Helmut to bait the spirit. The ghost of the academy came out in the form of a huge purple spirit. Alea used a sealing spell to prevent the spirit from leaving the training grounds, but it is still preventing him from moving. Helmut needs to wound the spirit using his venom, but the first attack wasn't enough. Helmut was about to put in more power when Xian went between them to stop him. Xian scolded Helmut for carelessly provoking the darkness. He blocked it with the curtain of light, but neither he nor Rattan will be able to hold on for long. The spirit's now upset and out of control. Xian only noticed that Alea was there too. He was shocked that Alea would want to experiment with the cute spirit. Alea said that he only did that because Xian refused to do any research with him. But Sion didn't like that Alea only does scary experiments on the spirit. Sion needs to shut the spirit off, but they can't lose the spirit. So Xian told Alea to maintain the sealing magic. Sion also told Helmut to stall a bit without attacking the spirit. He agreed, but he doesn't know until when he will be able to last without attacking it. The spirit is fast, but Helmut can still endure the speed. Xian was doing the ritual while Helmut did the stalling, and the spirit knows Helmut can't attack it. Sion said that the spirit gets weaker, but it almost breaks the sealing spell. It is wary of them, and it fears Sion's elemental magic. The spirit was about to attack Alea after the sealing spell got broken, but Helmut jumped in between them to defend him. Alea casts a barrier spell, but the spirit manages to run away. Helmut ran after it and told Xian to do the casting now. Helmut scared the spirit using the sword, and while it was stunned, Sion was able to control the spirit into a small ball like Rattan. The Mercenary Guild's front desk boy was surprised to see the problematic monster transform into a small, purple flying being. He asked why the spirit was there, and according to Cyan, there could be many reasons. There could have been influences of magic, the forces of the earth could have been distorted for a moment, and there could have been small traces of the forces of darkness. The guild needs to ensure that the monster won't appear again, so Helmut has not been paid yet. Cyan said that Helmut is now their friend too, a relationship of mutual help. Cyan shook hands with Helmut, but Aliyah was already running away from them. Cyan proposed to Aliyah that he should buy them meals, but they have to clean up the training grounds. All Greta Academy students are required to live in the dormitory, and Helmut is assigned to 3rd floor unit 301. He's prepared to start the term, and the entrance ceremony is tomorrow. Ethan suggested that it's better if Helmut takes a look at where he will be staying. This is Helmut's first encounter with the Academy's crowd. Some are dropping off their belongings. Helmut decided to check his dormitory. Aliyah was talking alone, saying that Helmut was the cause of the strange things that had happened. He's now tired. He swore to never make friends before. He doesn't want to see Helmut again when the term starts. He was not wearing any cloak in the room like he used to, and he looks like a girl. Max and Paul, on the other hand, were full of injuries, and they wanted to force going to the Baden. They even used Black Hawk's principle to eliminate anyone getting in the way. Suddenly, someone from Black Hawk attacked them. He confronted them for carelessly using the Black Hawk name. He claimed that the current Black Hawk had tarnished the name despite their long survival. The mysterious man had a question for the Black Hawk and wondered if he could just ask Paul or Max instead.